Especially when we started the business, we started growing so quickly. I mean, that first 3 years was kind of slow, but then it just took off like a rocket. I mean, an absolute rocket. And I think we just pursued that top line dollar on the basis that the costs would take care of themselves and the profit would open up in the end. But actually, what we realized was that if we can put some money in the bank every month and grow our profits and have something decent there, then actually we become masters of our own destiny. We did something else, Jason, which was a masterful stroke by Tarek, which we didn't consider at the beginning, which was this thing called profit. I'm not sure if you've come across it, but we didn't focus on profit. We focused on revenue. And there was the big mistake. But fortunately, by the skin of our teeth, we managed to pull through. And we're not only growing, but we're also profitable.
Why do you think years ago, so many people, and there's still a lot of people that just focus on top line? Like I'll kind of get in the rabbit holes on Instagram and I'll see a person, they'll be posing in front of a Lear jet and talk about how much money they make.
And you think, that's just like mine, you're thinking.
Exactly, yes. That's how I found you. You posed in front of your fancy car. It was like this big, like a Matchbox car.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, my wife's 10-year-old Mitsubishi. Yeah, that's
but
right. Yeah.
Why were you focused on top line back then? And what made you switch to going, hey, we need to focus on profit? Who cares about the top line revenue?
Well, I'd like to say it was ignorance, but I'd been told time and time again that, profit is, what's the expression there? Revenue is vanity and profit is sanity. I'd heard that time and time again. But I think, especially when we started the business, we started growing so quickly. I mean, that first 3 years was kind of slow, but then it just took off like a rocket. I mean, an absolute rocket. And I think we just pursued that top line dollar on the basis that the costs would take care of themselves and the profit would open up in the end. But actually, what we realized was that thanks, by the way, one person I didn't mention in the whole thing is we have a chairman, right, who has a small shareholding in the business. And he was brought on by mutual agreement with Tarek and me should we ever reach a stalemate or an impasse, which has never happened. But he's there, but he's been advising us over the years. And, he made it plain that if we can put some money in the bank every month and grow our profits and have something decent there, then actually we become masters of our own destiny. We don't need to have a fire sale if the company is kind of on its heels and sell at some very low multiple if it ever came to that. We can make choices about where we want to invest, technology, people, maybe even acquire. But without that profit, you're really rammed into a corner. You have no options. So I think it was kind of a realization that hit us that it's really, really important to have cash in the bank and grow it every month.
How did you get through? I mean, obviously you had massive growth. You have over 550 people. So obviously that wasn't overnight, but there's a lot of times I see agency owners keep growing on gross revenue and they think it's always going to keep coming. How do you know what's the threshold of how fast I should hire? How did you guys manage that?
Well, there's often this. You mean like hiring ahead of the curve?
Correct.
Just,
yeah, because it's
kind of hiring to where the puck's going, as it were. Well, another lesson we've learned over the years is forecasting. And so we have, and without getting into the weeds of the business, but we have, and again, this is Tarek, right? This all comes from him and the immediate team around finance, but we are very close to our customers. We have a lot of contracted clients, but a lot of ad hoc project-based work as well. And we keep very close to what the predicted revenue is in the year, in the quarter, and in the month. And we have a leadership team that we created only about a year and a half ago, where before that it was kind of Tarek and I calling the shots everywhere, but that wasn't sustainable. So we assembled the very best of the people we had, and we had to get them working together. So that's operations and finance and HR and technology. And if they realize that we all collectively have a challenge for the business, which is we want to continue growing at this rate. So everyone needs to help each other and everyone needs to work for each other. We bring in a business coach who I would, by the way, highly recommend having a business coach after I mocked and poo-pooed it for 20 years. I wouldn't do without one now, but aligning everyone, including Tarek and me, on how we're going to achieve what we're going to achieve. So a lot of that is we get the forecast, Finance knows the impact on costs. HR is ready to get that recruitment. We see something hoving into view. Maybe a client's going to need, one or two people. Maybe a client's going to need 20, 30 people. We know that we can build a bench and we can haul those in. And everyone cooperating means that we don't get surprised or blindsided anymore like we used to. Because I'd come steaming in and say, hey, we got 20 new people we need. And Tarek's like, what? You never told me. And suddenly we're all running around trying to hire the people. We're not really like that anymore.
Yeah. I like having the system because too many people make the mistake of going, hey, I just landed these 5 clients, or I'm about to land these 5 clients. And they go, will cripple us. Because one of the questions I always ask agencies is like, all right, if you double your business tomorrow, does that cripple your business today? And most cases it does. And then they're like, oh, well, we need to go hire all these different people. But if you have a system in place, like you were talking about forecasting, because I remember we used to do our budgeting many, many years ago, probably like a lot of you guys listening, looking at the bank account. That's
absolutely. I used to, my previous business, I ran on the cash flow forecast. I didn't care about the P&L. In fact, I barely knew what a P&L or a balance sheet was. No, all I needed was that kind of, I had a week by week cash flow forecast. And woe betide us if a client didn't pay when they said they would.
I hope you enjoyed this content. If you want more content like this, make sure you click on the link on the screen or check out your most popular podcast platform where the full episode is there. And until next time, have a swank day. What are you doing? Go check it out. Click on the link. I'll see you soon.